Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dhanush's channel. It has been a long time since we have made some video from the YouTube channel. So from today we are reviving it. So we'll start with current affairs that is there in our day-to-day current affairs in our day-to-day Hindu newspaper. Along with this, I will also be focusing on many students have been asking current affairs for prelims 2024. This time I am not able to do full course of prelims. So what I am doing is I am taking the current affairs section for 2025 prelims that is to be held in the month of May. So let us start with our discussion today with the economic survey that was released on 31st of January 2025, that is yesterday. So in this video, I'll be quickly going through what are the highlights of this economic survey, particularly from the text and context that Prime Minister Modi has highlighted recently. So we all know that economic survey is released every year. On 31st of January, economic survey will be released. Subsequently, it will be followed by 1st February, that is on that day, the Home Minister, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, is going to announce budget for the country. So today it is going to be the budget day. However, we'll look at the budgets in the upcoming videos. Today, let's go for a quick recap about what Prime Minister Modi said about as far as our economic infrastructure is considered, the economic survey is considered. So we are going to discuss on these matters. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi has highlighted key insights from the economic survey 2024-25. He has underscored India's remarkable progress in infrastructure, energy, agriculture and innovations. Let's have a look at what Prime Minister Modi has said in his latest Twitter account, and these are the things that we have to remember for our mains as well as for prelims. To some extent, these are important. So what is the things that Prime Minister Modi has said? The first one Modi has said is about the so-called non-fossil fuels is on the rise. So a greener India is ahead. We all know that India has committed at the global level to reduce the fossil fuel usage and to promote the non-fossil fuels. So in that line, Government of India has substantially increased the non-fossil fuels, that is renewable energy, right from the solar or the wind, from 236 gigawatts to 420 gigawatts. This is one highlight. So the total amount of production from the non-fossil fuels as far as power generation is considered is 420.81 according to Economic Survey 2024-25. So 236, 2 3s are 6, 420. So 024, you remember in that way, it will be remembered. So this is the first thing about non-fossil fuel based energy that Prime Minister Modi is speaking about. The second one is he has highlighted about the exports. This will study in the balance of payments, that there will be goods exports and services exports. Between 2005 to 2023, that is right from the times of Dr. Manmohan Singh until this government second tenure is completed. If you look at the total service exports that India has achieved, in the total exports, India's share in the global services has doubled almost. It has come from 1.9% to 4.3%, or it is increased more than double. Right, 4.3% of total global exports in services is coming from India. This is a great achievement for the country within the last 20 years per se. Subsequently, Prime Minister Modi also speak about the private spending on the so-called private spending as far as it is consumption. We all know that national income is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. I is nothing but private expenditure or private investments. So if you look how GDP is being propelled between financial year 2015 to financial year 2025, private investments has been on increasing share. So from 57.6% to 61.8%, private players have been tremendously contributing for the growth of this economy, and it has reached high after 22 years. So this is one thing that we can see in the financial year 25. The total private sector contribution for our economy is around 62%. This is one great achievement as far as private momentum is considered. Coming to the so-called vulnerable sections, starting with the so-called farmers. So the small farmers in the country have been empowered. There has been growth in the credit to these small and marginal farmers. An increase of 315% was seen during the last 1 decade. So earlier these farmers were getting somewhere around 3.5 lakh crores. Today it has been increased to almost 15 lakh crores. So 3.5 to 15 lakh crores, that is 14.39 lakh crores. This is another data that you have to remember. And we all know that who are small and marginal farmers. Small and marginal farmers are those farmers who have the land up to a capacity of 2 hectares or less than 5 acres. This is what small and marginal farmers is. And then coming to the so-called agricultural credit. So total agricultural credit that has been given by various banking institutions, financial institutions in the country has substantially grown from 8.45 lakh crores to 25.48 lakh crores. Again, this is a great achievement as far as credit is considered. So an increase of 201% was achieved as far as agricultural credit is considered, and this is one substantial improvement from 8% to 8 lakh crores to 25 lakh crores. Subsequently, the next one is on the infrastructure projects. Government of India has been expanding tremendously on the road infrastructure, particularly under the Bharatmala Pariyojana, which is an extension of the Golden Quadrilateral, where two-way lanes has been expanding to four-way lanes and six-way lanes. What Prime Minister Modi has stated is four-way lane highway expanded rapidly, that is more than 157 growth has been achieved in a decade. So an increase of 315% from 18,300 kilometers of highways to 45,900 kilometers. So almost 46,000 kilometers of roads in India are today having this ultra technology, that is four-way lane technology. Subsequently, if you look at the so-called the patents, research and development as far as women is considered in the country. So the total number of filings that is done by the women as far as IPR rights is considered, it has again grown tremendously. In the financial year 2015, it was just 15 applications that was filed. Today, it was around 5,200 applications. So again, this was a great achievement as far as women's participation in research and development is considered. This again highlights one thing, that is in the STEM process, that is science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Women have been taking active participation, and this is due to thanks to the increased educational opportunities that the country has provided in the last one decade. Subsequently, if we further go ahead, rural India gets more power. This is another great achievement after Government of India has launched the 100% rural electrification. What we see is today almost all the rural areas in the country have been electrified, and the average power supply in the year 2014 was around 12 hours per day. Now it was increased to almost 22 hours. Just like the urban areas, we also find 22 hours of rural supply in rural areas today. Subsequently, further the energy gap, if we consider, so India has closed the energy gap. What do you mean by this energy gap? Gap between the demand and supply. Earlier, we are facing shortages in the electrical supply. As a result, due to the so-called the poor financing of the energy sector altogether, Indian energy supply was facing crisis. In order to overcome this, the energy gap has been reduced within the last 10 years from 4.2% to 0.1%. That is the reason Government of India was able to provide electrical supply to all the rural areas within a very short span of time. Almost 22 hours of electrical supply is being given. Next is as far as intellectual property rights are considered in the industrial designs, we have filed more number of applications. So the total number of designs that were filed has substantially increased to around 32,000 crores compared to the 10,000 crores, which was 10,000 filings that was done earlier. It has increased to 30,000 filings. So this is another thing that we have to remember as far as research and development considerations are there. Going to the so-called micro irrigation as far as agriculture is considered, the land under micro irrigation, that is drip cultivation and sprinkler irrigation, has increased substantially between 2005 to 2025. So in 2005 to 2010, the total hectares of land that was under micro irrigation was around 20,000 hectares. Today it has crossed more than 8,000 hectares of land is under micro irrigation. This is another substantial improvement as far as micro irrigation is considered. And as far as the non-institutional credit is considered, it has been in the declining trend because it was replaced by the institutional credit, which is very safe and secure for the farmers to borrow. So the credit to the farmers have been increased from 61% in the year 2002 to 61% from to 64% in the last 10 years during the times of Manmohan Singh, whereas from 64 to 75 today the total credit to the farmers is 75% through the so-called institutional credit, and it was just 25% from non-institutional credit. So this was another achievement that the government has made substantial progress. As far as manufacturing sector is considered, in the last 10 years subsequently, or in the last few years, if you see, among all the emerging market economies, be it Brazil, China, Indonesia, Mexico, or any other emerging markets, our purchasing managers index, manufacturing has shown consistent increase and it is more than 50, and we all know that whenever purchasers managers index is more than 50, it is an indication that the industry is expanding in the country. So this is one indication that Indian industry is expanding to the maximum. After that, coming to the so-called health parameters, the more births saved, more years lived. So this is a very great achievement that the country has achieved. As far as life expectancy is considered, the life expectancy at birth has increased to 70 from somewhere around 66.5% in 2011. And as far as infant mortality rate is considered, that is the total number of infants who are dying before they attain 1 year of age, it has been decreased from 44 to 28. This is another major achievement in the last 2011 to 2020. So 66.5 to 70 years, life expectancy today is 70 years, and infant mortality rate has been decreased to 28 in the country. After that, if you look at the Manariga, the total number of people who are employed in Manariga, right, it has been increasing. At the same time, the infrastructure that has been constructed under MGNREGA has evolved over a period of time. If you look at the total number of building infrastructures or assets that has been created in the financial year 2015, it was 16%. However, now it was increased to 71%. So this shows that again, the funding that was going to MGNREGA is creating some concrete capital assets in the country. After this, academic excellence, as far as academic excellence is considering, again in the terms of patents, not only we have seen that the total number of industrial designs were increased and the women patent filing has been increased. The overall patent filing has been tripled between 2022 to 24 from 7,400 to 23,300. So again, these are all the substantial achievements that Government of India has achieved as far as the economic survey is considered. So this is a quick recap about these data, and these data can be used in various dimensions in answer writing as far as UPSC is considered. So we'll be going into in detail analysis of economic survey chapter by chapter. I'll be starting with the chapters from today onwards, and subsequently we'll also discuss the budget that Government of India is going to release. This is all what we have. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day.